Hello everyone, the Nerd Medic here, and in this video we will quickly review the idea of hypoproteinemia. So what does hypoproteinemia means? So hypo means low, protein means protein, and emia what means in blood. So low protein quantity in blood or low protein content in blood is known as hypoproteinemia. Now we have to understand first how protein comes into blood. We take up food through mouth. Now this food goes inside through mouth, travels the esophagus, goes into stomach, digestion occurs, and this food contains protein. And this protein containing food breaks down into amino acid. Amino acids are absorbed by veins. Veins take that amino acids to the liver. Inside livers, there's protein synthesis takes place. Right. And after that synthesis occurs, the proteins go to the IVC or inferior vena cava, and through inferior vena cava, they reach the heart, and from heart, they get circulated to different parts of the body. Right. So this is how proteins come into blood. Right. Now, let us understand in which steps this process can get hampered so that there will be less amount of protein in the blood. It may so happen that the food that you are eating is low in protein. So it may so happen that you have decreased intake of protein, which may lead to decreased amino acids and decreased production of proteins, and finally low protein in the blood. So there can be decreased absorption of protein. Decreased absorption of protein from or amino acids from the gut, and that can lead to low protein in the blood. There can be decreased synthesis of protein in the liver, right? Or in certain pathological conditions, the proteins are excreted through the kidney, right? So there can be, or in case of diarrhea and other pathological conditions, a lot of protein that we take up with diet is lost through the GI tract. So there can be increased loss of protein through GI tract and renal system. So there can be 4 mechanisms which can lead to decrease in protein in the blood. So these mechanisms are decreased intake, decreased absorption, decreased synthesis, and increased loss. Right. So this is more or less the overview of causes of hypoproteinemia. Let us take this up in a bit more detail now. So hypoproteinemia, the causes of hypoproteinemia can be divided into broad 3 categories. One can be decreased intake. When decreased intake will occur if you have low protein quantity in your diet, and that is usually seen with protein energy malnutrition conditions. Now protein energy malnutrition conditions are of 2 types. So let us understand that. Now there are 2 types of protein energy malnutrition conditions. One is known as kwashiorkor and another disease is known as marasmus. So what happens in kwashiorkor? In kwashiorkor, we have only low protein content in our diet. Right. But in case of marasmus, if you see, protein as well as carbohydrate as well as fat content of the food is low. So all the 3 macronutrients are low in case of marasmus, whereas in kwashiorkor, you have only protein low in the diet. So this can be the cause of hypoproteinemia. Now let us come to the second cause, that is decreased production. Now decreased production, how it can occur? So we have learned that the main site of protein production is liver. So in case of any chronic liver disease, you can have decreased production. In case of, or there can be liver cirrhosis, there you can have decreased in production of proteins, and that can lead to hypoproteinemia. And finally, there can be increased loss. Now, how can this increased loss take place? Now, loss can be either through renal route, that means loss of protein through urine, or the loss can be via GIT, that is loss of protein via the gastrointestinal tract. Now, how through gastrointestinal tract the loss can take place? Suppose you are having a malabsorption syndromes, any kind of malabsorption conditions that can lead to loss of proteins. That means whatever protein you are eating, that proteins are not getting broken down into amino acid, but those amino acids are not getting absorbed through the GIT. Different conditions of the gut can lead to malabsorption syndromes, or there can be diarrhea. What happens in diarrhea? In diarrhea, the gut becomes hypermobile. So the motility of the gut is so much, the transit time of food that you eat in the gut is so much, the gut wall gets very less time to absorb nutrients. And hence there's ineffective absorption of nutrients through the gut wall. And that can also contribute to increased loss and hence can cause hypoproteinemia. Now how in renal route there can be problem? Now there are certain conditions of kidney which are known as nephrotic syndrome, in which there's an increased protein urea through kidney. Why that happens? Due to certain problems in the nephrons of the kidney, a huge amount of protein is filtered through the kidney and is lost through urine. In that situation, we can have an increased loss of protein through renal route and which can cause hypoproteinemia. So this slide over here summarizes the different causes and pathology associated with hypoproteinemia. Now the question comes, how we can diagnose hypoproteinemia? So whenever we talk of diagnosis, any diagnosis starts with two basic steps. Those steps are history taking and clinical examination. Right. So in history, you can see that the patient will give a history of his or her diet, which will indicate towards a protein deficiency. Or there can be history of alcohol intake, which can lead you towards the findings of cirrhosis. Or there will be history of bowel habit, which may indicate towards a diarrhea in the patient. Now in clinical examination, what will you get? In clinical examination, hypoproteinemia manifests in different ways, but the most significant of them is known as the edema. Right. Now over here, the edema is a pitting kind of edema, because the fluid that escapes blood vessels and to get deposited in the tissue is of transudative type. That means the fluid has low protein content. Why low protein content? Because already the protein content in the blood is low, and that is why the edema is having a transudate fluid which has low protein content. Now more details of edema we will learn in a separate video on edema, and in that video you will get a clear idea about transudate and exudate and what is pitting and not pitting kind of edema. But for now, just remember that the most significant clinical finding in a patient with hypoproteinemia is edema, which is of pitting kind and of transudative nature. Right? Now this history and clinical examination will indicate towards a hypoproteinemia in the patient. Now how can you confirm your diagnosis? For confirming diagnosis, you have to perform certain biochemical investigations. Now, what are these biochemical investigations that you're going to perform? Now, the biochemical investigation in the very beginning that you're going to perform will be a serum total protein. And the serum total protein test will establish that the patient has a low protein in the blood. Now, once you have understood that the patient, or established that the patient has a low protein in the blood, you will go for another test, that is serum albumin levels. Right, and along with that you will also check for the albumin globulin ratio. Now these investigations will give you more insight about the etiology of the hypoproteinemia, and once you have got certain insight about the etiology of hypoproteinemia, whether it is due to decreased intake, increased loss or decreased synthesis, you can accordingly go for certain investigations which will confirm your diagnosis. So I believe this summarizes the idea of the gross pathology and medicine of hypoproteinemia. So I believe you have understood this video well. If you have understood this video well, please do hit the like button, share this video among your friends and peers of medical school. And for more such amazing content, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Until then, bye bye. See you in the next one.